All right, let's talk guitar some more. If you look over here to my right, Serenity Hanover, I use, and I know we're not supposed to advertise, and I'm just telling you what I use. I use Fender amps exclusively. Through the years, I've had many. What I'm playing through today is a Fender Deluxe. I'm straight in, no effects pedals, no nothing. Find an amp that you like, and it doesn't matter what brand it is. It doesn't matter how expensive or inexpensive it is. You need to know your amp. You need to know your instrument, your guitar. Doesn't matter what brand of guitar you start with. I would recommend something mid-range as far as being cost effective, that you or your parents can afford for you. Mainly because if you really take to it, you want that guitar to last you a lifetime. If it doesn't, if it's cheap, it's going to be very difficult to play. You might be saving a dime, but you're going to get discouraged very quickly. All right, so we talk about amps and knowing your guitars and your amps. The other amp I use is a Fender Blues Junior. Through the years, my very first amp was an Ampeg VT22. How I wish I still had that, but I wouldn't be able to lift it. My second amp in the 80s was a Crate, and you old school guys and vintage lovers out there, believe me, I'm kicking my own butt for this, but I traded that Ampeg VT22 even up on a Crate G212C stereo chorus amp, and I played it till it quit. My next investment was a Peavey Renown 112. It was a simple one speaker, 3 independent channel amp. Had all the cool digital effects on it. But I'm going back to the basics. I don't use any effects pedals. It's alright if you do. There's effects pedals out there that can give you any sound you want. But if you learn your amp, you set it up, plug into one channel, you can move your selector switch for your pickups, change the tones of your guitar. Let's set it down on the bridge pickup. This is your bridge. Work the volume knob. So if the volume is your volume plot on your guitar, on Telecasters, it's the first one by your pickup selector. If you have a Telecaster, there's Telecaster Deluxes, all kinds of fancy stuff. But in this case, we're on the bridge pickup. This is your bridge. So there's some traditional chords, nice and clean. Add a little volume to it, a little bit of dirt. Of course, my amps are tube amps. That helps a lot, but you can do the same with solid state. Then you open that volume pot wide, and back to clean. It's just all in how you like your sound to be. That's what I use. Find your own. Change the pickup. Put it in the middle position on a Telecaster. Straightforward Telecaster. That is both pickups, both your bridge and your neck. Obviously, you know this is bridge now. Obviously, you can guess why they call this the neck pickup. It's right by the neck of the guitar. A little bit warmer in tone. Very nice for clean stuff. Very nice for semi-dirt. You want a little bit of an overdriven sound for a guitar solo, for example. Or wide open, it's nice and fat. Plain and simple stuff. Know your guitar and your amp. Neck pickup, once again, a different tone. Even better for clean stuff, especially if you're the only guitar player in your band. It'll cut through. A lot of times when you have another guitar player playing with you, you'll want to be more on the trebly side to get it to cut through if you're not mixed well. Or if you're playing with live sound and not using a sound man per se. My band doesn't. We like to crank our amps and use them, but we're never too loud. There's the neck pickup. Fat, very fat sounding, or full and broad, deep, if you will. I call it fat. Clean it up a little bit, you know. examples of clean stuff. Once again, you want to play some blues, or you want, a semi-dirty, real fat sounding guitar riff or solo. You work your volume knob, put a little bit of volume into it. Obviously, you're going to play something you want it to be heard, so you want to boost the volume a little bit. Fattens it up. Or you bring all the volume in, and once again, as before, you got full dirt, full overdrive. Nothing fancy there, I'm just kind of goofing off. I didn't even bother warming up. We'll get to that stuff. But there's your basics. Let's talk about the way you hold your pick. Alright, you know your guitar and your amp. You're very familiar with it. You found the sound that you like with pedals or with just your amp. Your pick. There's a couple of different ways I hold mine. If I want to get a very crunchy sound, I think this comes from growing up, learning how to play guitar in the 80s. I really choke up on my pick. There's just a little bit sticking out, and actually my index fingernail kind of hits the string at the same time and gives it kind of a, and we'll learn about this, but a pinch harmonic it's called, but it gives it a neat crunchy sound. So just for example, we're chopping, I'm palm muting as it's called, just laying the palm of my hand delicately on the strings, and even if you're not muting, it still gives it that distinct sound. And yes, Delilah's licking the camera. Alright, now, when I want a chord, especially on acoustic guitar, or even on the electric, and I want a nice full chord sound, I move back on the pick a little bit. Obviously, you can tell. Nothing real difficult to remember. Just the more pick you have, the more sound you'll get, the easier it is to get a full sound. So for example, and the same thing, choking up on the pick. Just different sounds you can get by moving your fingers on the pick. Sometimes songs will require some string popping or finger picking. I can do one of these. It's unorthodox, it's not proper, but it works for me. I go from this and tuck it up in there and then slide it down ever so delicately into my hand. And believe it or not, it works. And again, I'm not an orthodox player, I'm self-taught. But then you get into your string popping stuff. And then I just pull it back out. There it is. And if I think about it, I screw it up when I think about it, but it just happened. There you go, guys. Some more basics. Thank you very much. Jack Armstrong III saying, keep it out of the trees.